Hidden deep within the rugged slopes of the Owl Mountains in Lower Silesia lies one of the most enigmatic and terrifying projects of the Third Reich, the Riese Complex. Its name, Riese, meaning giant in German, was no exaggeration. It was the largest underground construction effort of Nazi Germany, a titanic maze of tunnels, chambers, and fortifications carved into solid granite, whose true purpose remains one of World War II's most haunting mysteries. The story of Riese began in 1943, at the height of Germany's desperation. Allied bombings had reduced major cities to rubble, the Eastern Front was collapsing, and Hitler's paranoia had reached its peak. The Fuhrer demanded a new command center, one that would be invulnerable to air raids, self-sufficient, and able to sustain the war effort even if the surface world was lost. What emerged from that order was not a single bunker, but a vast underground world stretching across multiple sites: Asoka, Wodars, Erzechka, Jugowice, Soban Soklek, and Siad Castle, each linked by tunnels, railways, and secret passages disappearing into the heart of the mountains. At first glance, Riese appeared to be just another of Organization Todd's defensive fortifications, but its scale and complexity defied logic. The tunnels were enormous, some high enough to fit multi-story buildings, others wide enough for train transport. Cavernous chambers were lined with reinforced concrete walls, thicker than any standard bunker. Electrical conduits, ventilation shafts, and hydraulic systems hinted at plans for long-term habitation. Yet by the end of the war, much of it remained unfinished, a skeleton of ambition trapped in stone. What exactly was Riese meant to be? Historians and engineers have debated for decades. Some believe it was intended as Vorhauptquartier Riese, Hitler's final headquarters, a subterranean citadel from which he could direct the last phase of the war. Supporting this theory were documents recovered after 1945 referencing special Führer facilities in the Silesian region, as well as architectural blueprints showing conference halls, barracks, and communication centers. Others argue that Riese was part of a broader network of underground armament facilities designed to house advanced weapons programs away from Allied reconnaissance. Indeed, nearby projects like Mittelwerk and Bergkristall had already proven that underground production could sustain Germany's high-tech weaponry. The proximity of Riese to transport lines and hydroelectric sources made it an ideal location for manufacturing V-2 rockets, jet engines, or even nuclear research, though concrete evidence of such operations remains elusive. Perhaps most chilling is the third hypothesis, that Riese was meant to be a post-war redoubt, a national fortress, Alpenfestung, where the remnants of the Nazi elite could retreat and continue resistance after Germany's collapse. This idea, propagated by Allied intelligence toward the end of the war, suggested that Hitler planned to rule a ghost Reich from beneath the mountains, waiting for the chance to rise again. Whether or not this was true, Riese certainly embodied that apocalyptic mentality, a delusional hope for resurrection beneath a dying empire. The construction itself was a nightmare. Overseen by Organization Todt and the SS, the project relied on tens of thousands of forced laborers drawn from Gross-Rosen concentration camp and its subcamps. They worked in unimaginable conditions, freezing temperatures, toxic dust, starvation rations, and constant brutality. Guards patrolled the tunnels, beating or shooting anyone who faltered. Inmates described endless days of drilling and blasting, the air thick with smoke and rock powder, their bodies covered in wounds that never healed. The death toll from Riese remains uncertain. Estimates vary from 13,000 to over 40,000, though the true number may never be known. What is certain is that the project consumed human lives at a terrifying rate. Prisoners who collapsed were buried in the same tunnels they dug. For every meter of progress underground, another life was extinguished. By late 1944, as Germany's defeat became inevitable, construction slowed, supplies dwindled, and the SS began destroying documents and sealing off sections of the tunnels. Some entrances were rigged with explosives, others flooded. When Soviet forces advanced in 1945, they found only fragments, kilometers of half-finished passageways, empty chambers, and traces of massive engineering operations that seemed to end in mid-swing, as if the builders had simply vanished. But something else vanished too: the plans. Nearly all of Riese's original blueprints were destroyed or lost. The few surviving documents are vague, full of code names and references to special projects or final phase objectives. To this day, no one has found definitive proof of the complex's intended purpose. The Soviets, upon discovering the site, immediately classified their findings, removing machinery, metals, and possible prototypes before sealing off large sections. In the decades that followed, Riese became a magnet for speculation and myth. Some claimed it was a nuclear facility, part of Germany's secret atomic program. Others believed it was connected to the development of exotic wonderwaff, miracle weapons that could have changed the course of history if completed. Conspiracy theories spoke of secret escape routes leading to the Alps, hidden vaults of Nazi gold, and even underground laboratories experimenting with human subjects. Yet beneath the layers of rumor, the tangible truth remains more haunting. Riese was the ultimate expression of a dying empire's madness. It was not merely a construction site. It was an ideology cast in concrete. The project encapsulated the Nazi obsession with control, permanence, and transcendence. In a world collapsing into chaos, they sought to anchor their dream beneath the surface, untouched by defeat. Modern explorers who enter the Riese tunnels today describe an overwhelming silence, the kind that carries memory in every echo. Rusted rails vanish into darkness. Pools of stagnant water reflect crumbling concrete arches. Air ducts and wiring lie embedded in stone like veins of a long-dead organism. The deeper one goes, the colder it becomes, as if time itself has frozen inside those walls. To historians, Riese stands as both a riddle and a warning. It represents the limit of human ambition when stripped of morality, a place where technology, ideology, and delusion converged. Whatever Hitler intended to hide beneath the Owl Mountains, he succeeded in burying more than blueprints. He buried the evidence of a world that believed it could escape destruction by retreating into the earth. Today, the Riese Complex endures as a monument to horror and hubris. Its tunnels remain partially unexplored, sealed behind barriers of rock and secrecy. But even in silence, they whisper the same truth, that beneath the mountains of Silesia, the Reich tried to build eternity and instead found its grave.